again, Kaiser Soze Maximum Carnage here with another war recap. The war against Pendleburys. A UK clan has just finished, and we're going to start things off with number 2, Run versus their number 2. I was going to pause for 1 second. A little while ago I made a stats video just showing about some of the ineffectiveness of Go Wipe when it comes to cleaning up bases. So a base that had been hit and hitting it again with Go Wipe just wasn't effective. And I had called out some 3-star attacks and just who had a lot of 3 stars and who didn't. Run was one of the low ones, and not only did he get 6 stars this war, and he got 3 stars on their 1 and 3 stars on their 2, even though he wasn't our number 1. The last attack of the previous war was also a 3-star, so he's got 3 3-star attacks in a row now, which is just a fantastic roll. So I just thought I'd point that out. So we could see in this attack here, he's dropped 2 hogs in to be able to lure this clan castle, which was enough time. You can see there's some wizards, some archers there, along with the drag that's in there. So it could have come down a little bit lower, I think, with that first heal and probably got everything. Again, the shadows. You can see the glowing shadow right on that number 4. That's the shadow for the drag. And you know where the drag is located as a result of his shadow. But he uses the double poison to be able to take out everything that's in the clan castle. Clan castle naturally is imperative if you want to be able to come in with a hog attack. And he is using Valkyries and hogs in this, so it is a Govaho attack. So clan castle is taken care of. That's objective number 1. Awesome. Now what he's going to look to do is push in deep enough using a kill squad to be able to make sure that he takes out the archer queen. Now, in a different, set of circumstances, you could say potentially he could have come in the queen side because there's more spaces there right beside where that queen is to be able to get to a giant bomb location. But what he does is he ends up putting in this jump with an expectation that his Valks are going to go to that jump and clear out those Teslas. So the jump spell being used along with one of the heal spells, 2 spells being used on those Valkyries and then keeping 2 for hogs. You can see it was a shallow push. He just didn't get enough. But the good news is his golems are still doing some distracting. He's got his archer queen up with a couple of wizards that are still doing some good damage in the core. And you can see his other hero, the Barb King, is following up. So this is a first attack, fresh hit. He didn't know that the giant bombs are there. And he's used both heals on the same side of the hogs. Those overlapping heals probably could have been saved for that compartment that they're in just now. So he ended up using his heals a little bit early. And now you can also see he's got a bunch of Larrys chasing those hogs. And the problem with the Larrys chasing the hogs is that would have been the benefit potentially of keeping that second poison, because having them run around is crazy. So you can see his hogs are almost dead. They're on the brink with no health. But because that Wiz Tower was distracted, they weren't able to get any shots in. He still has the Larrys chasing around the hogs because the hogs won't turn until all of the defenses are dead. And you can see all of his hogs are gone now. The heroes killed the Larrys right when they were around. And because he's got level 22 and level 15 heroes, I'm just going to increase it here. He's got 4x speed that's coming in. You can see those troops that are left. And he ends up getting the 3-star. So, again, if there's something to be learned, this is just the power of that Govaho. He could have come in a little bit more efficiently with the Valkyries. He could have taken out the clan castle with 1 poison. And just imagine if those Larrys weren't able to take out any hogs because they were dead. It would have saved a lot of hogs. And then he also could have changed the timing and the use of the spells, not only for knowing that first giant bomb was there, to do so much damage to the hogs, but by delaying and spreading it out a little bit and using those heals a little bit more effectively, he could have kept it up. Now, even though he didn't do that, it still resulted in a 3-star. So one caveat here as well is that I think this may be the worst clan that we've ever faced. In terms of matchup, it was just horrible for them. They couldn't attack. They couldn't do really anything offensively. Defensively, their bases weren't strong. They weren't powerful. For instance, they had a base weight, a defensive strength there of 64,000, which is lower than Run. I think Run comes in at 66. So we certainly had an advantage. But again, just talking about the strength of the attacks, and and what was used, and using the right attack for the right style of base. Clearly, whether or not it's Govaho or just a Goho, that base was meant to be hogged. The hogs were put in, and hogs worked, even though there was some potential inefficiencies with the deployment. So now we've got number 1. That's our Spidey. He's got a max level queen for Town Hall 9 at 30. And this is a white flag base. So this, any of these open style bases, they're referred to as white flag bases, and they are anti-hog bases. There's so much space, you don't know where the traps are, you don't know where the giant bombs are. It's hard to predict the pathing of the defenses, whether or not the hogs would go in or out of the core. So this type of base is meant to prevent hogs from using them. So Spidey here, now I'm going to just pause in 1 second. Once this queen pushes, so we're just going to stop here. So generally speaking, the way to attack these bases is to hit a corner and then hit the opposite corner. So you can, look at anything. If it were me, I wouldn't want to face both crossbows at the same time. So I would come in one of the sides here from 6 to 9 o'clock or 1 to 3 o'clock. I would come in on one of those ends and I would pick a corner. So this corner is 1, for instance. This corner is number 2. And that's where I would start. I would put a single golem or herd of giants on the outside. And what its job is to clear out everything that's in the corner, and then work its way from this archer tower over towards the cannon. And that's all you really want by putting in, again, some giants or a golem plus some whiz. And a golem plus some whiz would be preferable in terms of what I would use. Over here, you're looking at the same thing. So I would do it just on the outside of this wall, and then put some whiz on the inside of the wall, and you'd have the golem distracting that archer tower and then moving up towards where his queen is now. And you do that to leave breadcrumbs. And you want these breadcrumbs in the middle. All this trash building and all this other stuff, you don't want to start taking that out too quickly. Once the corners are gone, once these corners are, cleared off, you will just put all of the troops, let's say, from this Darkspell factory inside. You want to clear out these trash buildings again on the corner with some whiz. Once that's done, though, by putting troops into the middle, then you can put a jump. They will never stray outside, and the reason they won't stray is that everything's been killed on the opposite corners. You leave all the breadcrumbs in the middle, everything only will go in the direction that you want. You put a jump, it'll easily double jump the wall, you have all your troops in the core, and everything carries out. So if we look at what Spidey has done here, Spidey has done the opposite. All of the breadcrumbs in the middle are gone. The only place that troops can go now is to the outside. The space between the outside of the base here in the dirt where you can deploy troops and the core where defensive structures remain is too great. These corners now are open, so everything deployed is going to go to those corners. So he's got his queen exposed. There is no support for the queen. There's nothing that is helping out the queen. Now everything is coming out. Everything is shooting the queen. All of his troops, you can see that they're being deployed, and they're not being deployed, in a way that makes sense to help with the funnel. They're being just completely dumped. It's literally all the troops that he's got kind of dumped right in the middle. And where do they go? They all start pushing on the outside. They lose the support of the queen, and you can see that rage spell is wearing off. He rages again, but this is a rage to the queen and not to the healers. The healers is what you want to rage and not the queen in this situation. And boom, the queen goes down. The healers aren't capable, without being in rage, to keep an archer queen up once 3-point defenses are targeting her. So in this case, more than 3 were targeting her. It's a matter of time. She was already weakened from taking all that pressure. All the support troops completely are drifting on the outside because a hole was punched in the middle, which is the complete opposite of a funnel. Taking out those corners first and then deploying all of his troops with his archer queen in the middle would have resulted in a completely different set of circumstances for this base. So I'm going to 4-exit. And you can see everything just stays, walking around the middle. This barbarian king followed by some whiz. Yep, strong king, capable of doing a lot of damage. But everything gets to pick it off, slowly but surely. It's a death by 1,000 cuts as that barb king walks around the outside. And it ends up being 1 star. And 1 star on, again, a base that is much, much, much weaker than what Spidey's capable of from an offensive troop standpoint. That's for sure. Now we're just going up to the next one that I want to show, which is going to be now runs hit on this same base. So again, anti-hog. You don't want to use hogs on this. And you can see from the troop set that Run has below, it is Go Valo. So it is golems, Valkyries, and loons. That's the type of attack that he is going to engage in. So what does that mean? That means the job of his troops, he's got a kill squad that's going to take care of the Archer Queen. And the job of the Valkyries is to take care of 4 air defenses. Once those air defenses are down, then he can just surgically target a couple of balloons going around on the outside, and he'll take care of all the other defenses because there won't be an air defense that's doing it. So again, a couple of hogs, draws the CC. Poison goes down, and this time it looks like he's got everything. So the 2 whiz, the couple archers, and the drag, all covered in the same poison. 4x, it drops a second poison to be able to finish off the drag. And now he drops his troops. So this is the kill squad, and their job is to potentially take care of the queen. And it's now, because I've seen the attack, his kill squad, its job is just to take down this 1 air defense. He's done a scout on this base and knows that there is a hole right here between the clan castle and the town hall. So he doesn't have to worry about getting his Valks in. The Valks in the core are going to kill the Archer Queen and the remainder of the air defenses. So again, the primary jobs, clan castle, Archer Queen, and all 4 air defenses going down in a Govalo attack, he's taken care of. And he's done it in a really unique way, understanding that all he has to do is take out that 1 air defense. So as troops are pushing in here, you can see easily that the golem's tanking. He's got his Archer Queen right on that air defense. As soon as it goes down, he pre-heals the core, drops 10 Valkyries. 10 Valkyries now and a rage. Heal and rage for Valkyries will make them unstoppable. It doesn't matter what's hitting them. They cannot do enough damage to be able to take out those Valkyries. And you can see how quick they go through and make work of this core here. So there's only 1 more air defense that's up. Valkyries go in between those 2 buildings. Boom. And he knows that it's going down. He's already started deploying the loons and targeting them. He hasn't put them in a wall. It's literally just a couple of loons going all the way around, you know, on these defenses. And they will just completely overkill the bases. The Valkyries now, they get the benefit of that final heal to make sure that they're getting recharged. Loses 1 to a spring trap. Has lost now some of the Valkyries in the core, but he's gotten so much value for those troops. It's unbelievable. He still has his Barbarian King alive with his Archer Queen. Look at the health that is available on those 2 troops. So he's got loons with the cleanup, wizards still with the cleanup. This is a complete and utter destruction of that base. Total overkill. There could have been many, many, many more defenses still left, and he still would have smashed it. So 65,000 is the strength of that base. So that's just below where Iron is. As an example, Iron is at 66,000 defensive strength, but most of that was walls, and naturally a Govalo attack. It doesn't care about walls. It doesn't matter about smashing through those walls because you're going to use the loons. It's a matter of whether or not you can get the Valkyries in, and that was just great, taking advantage of the hole that was there, that's for sure. All right, so the next attack that I wanted to show is Jim on number 10. So we can see this is a Town Hall 9. He's got a level 10 Barbarian King, a level 4 Archer Queen, so it's certainly not a super strong base. It is 60,000 defensive weights strength that it's bringing to the table, though, and that is higher than Jim. So although it's equal, 10 versus 10, this is Jim attacking someone who's over him defensively. And he can do that because he's saved a little bit of the defensive strength and added to the strength of his Archer Queen. So he goes in, takes the clan castle. Kill squad goes in with the primary objective of now taking the queen once that clan castle's dead. Once the queen's down and he's comfortable, he's put in hogs. Now he's put the bulk of the hogs here coming in to the left and some of them coming in from the right. And that ends up being a pretty good thing to do in this case because it's cleared out a big space around that Barbarian King. So his main group of hogs isn't going to run into that issue. So you can see now his hogs have picked up a bunch of Larrys and they will not turn and kill those skeletons until all of the defenses are down. And saving a second poison, if possible, say as opposed to that haste that was used, would have taken care of those skeletons that are traveling behind the hogs, at least a chunk of them, and would have kept some of those hogs alive. So as Jim comes through it, now we take a look at what he's got. The enemy Barbarian King is up, and the hogs don't recognize that as a defense. They'll just kind of get to it when they get to it, and they wouldn't kill the Barbarian King until all the other defenses. So that's why when he dropped a few hogs towards that Barbarian King, it just created a big hole, so the big pack of hogs didn't end right on that Barbarian King. And if you're going to have something happen, you want the hogs to end there anyway. You don't want them to kind of be stuck with the Barbarian King in the middle of their attack, because the Barbarian King can chase them around the map. So you can see here, though, that Jim still has his Archer Queen. It's only level 7, but look at the health. And he still has her ability. He hasn't even used the ability on this base. The hogs now are engaging this Barbarian King. Some of them are taking care of that town hall. 99%, only the Barbarian King's left, and you can see, again, with the wizards, the hogs that are left, the Archer Queen, the base just didn't stand a chance. And if you look at that, the way the base structure is, you can see clearly there's no spaces, there's no spring traps, there's no single giant bombs, or very few spaces for singles, and there's certainly no double giant bombs. And that has to tell you, be smart, use the strategy where the kill squad goes in, golems a handful of whiz, keep yourself, around the 14 wizards that he used is perfect. 7 wall breakers, maybe a little bit heavy. He could have even downplayed that. He's got 2 golems, the royals, plus those wizards and wall breakers, and then 1 spell dedicated to killing the Archer Queen, taking care of the clan castle. The rest of it, 3 heals on those hogs, and his hogs aren't even max. So that was just a great run by Jim, that's for sure. That was a really good attack on his equal. All right, so the next one we're going to show here is Spidey on number 3. So we could see here he's got 6 earthquakes and 2 rage. 6 earthquakes. I can never, ever, ever imagine a situation where that would be called for and appropriate in terms of what it is that you're trying to do. So the first troop that Spidey puts down is his Archer Queen. And then he drops in 3 golems, all together in one spot, which really takes away the effectiveness of golems as far as being able to spread out a damaged area. He puts in some whiz to be able to clean up those buildings and troops behind, and nothing is really onto that dragon kill squad. You can see there's still an archer even alive. So not enough support was given to those 3 golems, which ended up taking a lot more damage than what they need to. Because the golems weren't spread, you can see the troops on the opposite side are getting killed, those wizards and stuff like that. He puts in a few random healers, and the healers naturally go to different things. They're attracted to what is the highest hit points that are taking damage, and they will switch back and forth as needed. So he ends up with 2 healers on his Archer Queen at the end. The final one died. He puts in a drag at the top, and the dragon gets killed by that air defense. The dragon coming in at that particular time was pointless, I think. Maybe he expected that air defense to be down at the time that the dragon went in, but certainly he could have followed up that dragon maybe even on the outside to clean up some of those outside buildings, as opposed to dropping it towards the top where it's just going to get sucked into the center. So 2 air defenses are up. His Archer Queen's dead at this particular point. He uses the Iron Fist ability with the king, but you can see how many defenses are left, and realistically that just tells you that that attack has no chance. As I'm going through it, I'm trying to figure out what the plan was for those troops and how the nature of the attack was supposed to unfold to be successful. But it looks to me like the attack was just meant to bully the other base, meaning I've got big troops, I'm just going to put down these big troops, and these are bad defenses, and I should be able to take care of them. And you can see it's not a level, it's a level 8 whiz tower, or Town Hall 8 whiz tower, Town Hall 8 air defense, Town Hall 8 cannons. Very few things have been upgraded on this base, and yet it's only a 50% from literally as close to max Town Hall 9 as you could possibly get. So that attack was certainly not that effective. And now we're going to show Jim on the same base. And this is the difference realistically that a good plan can make. We can pause it here, 2 minutes, 12 seconds. So at the time that this replay is going to end, there's still going to be 1 minute and 15 seconds left on the actual game clock. So at the time that this base is 3-starred, and we know it's 3-starred, 1 minute and 15. So some interesting things to point out here as well. 7 wall breakers, 14 whiz, 24 hogs. It looks like it's exactly the same loadout that was used before. So we already touched on maybe a second poison for those Larrys is going to give more benefit than the haste, but it's good to see that a plan that worked when it comes to getting a set of troops that you kind of understand how to deploy and when to deploy them. That's a great place to start, as opposed to taking a whole bunch of random troops that you have to figure out how to deploy. You want to keep it simple. You want to keep the deployment with objectives, and this is just a great example of a second phase attack. So he's got a primary objective here of taking out the Archer Queen. Does a great job taking out a giant bomb at the corner. The Archer Queen's distracted by the golem that he puts in, follows up with his royals and some whiz. He's not in a hurry. He knows he's going to take out this Archer Queen. He ends up raging the golems in the core. And now he's just waiting again, knowing that his troops can come in to be able to take care of that clan castle. Could have poisoned it. That would have kept up that base a little bit longer. I'm just going to pause it here. So now he's deployed some hogs on this side and some hogs on the bottom. So that is okay, depending upon what it is. At times you're going to want to kind of trickle in hogs surgically behind what it is, but by doing it in 2 places, it makes the placement of the spells a little bit easier to be able to manage. So there's certainly no problem with deploying hogs in this way. His hogs, again, these are not maxed hogs. These are Town Hall 8 level 4 hogs that are being used. So I know that he is maxing them. They're going up to max now. He puts a haste here over where the Teslas are in the corner to help get the hogs through there. Otherwise, he's got the placement of the heal down. Now, there was an overlap in the heal, and he probably would have been a little bit better pushing this second heal out more towards that 7 o'clock area to be able to put it down. But nonetheless, I mean, he's got a large pack of hogs. Only one thing can do splash damage, and that's that whiz tower. And whiz towers don't do tremendous damage to hogs anyway. So those hogs are going to work through. And you can see up here, look at his Archer Queen. Hasn't used her ability at full health. The Barbarian King hasn't used his ability at full health. Wizards are following both of them, which ends up being just fantastic. But those hogs clear the path and keep that kill squad up. Now we can look and we say, okay, if he had have kept 1 or 2 wizards, now just for this opposite side, to put a wizard or 2 up there, just to speed up the cleanup, that potentially would have been the perfect way to be able to attack this base. As it is, though, look at these troops that he's got alive. Look at how many wizards. I'm going to just use my Iron Fist ability just to make the king run. Why not? It just cleans up things a little bit quicker. But it still has the queen's ability, and he's got a swag poison. Didn't even use that secondary poison, and was able to destroy this base. And he destroyed a base with his defensive weight at around 58,000. I think that's what Jim's weight is. And much, much lower level troops than what Spidey is capable of using. So it really speaks to the value behind using those troops in an effective way and a smart way, as opposed to just having no plan and dropping them saying, I'm going to bully everybody into submission because I have big troops, I can take over that base. So naturally, there's other people's attacks that went well. Fritz did some great go wipes along with Chaser. Chaser put in some back-end hogs that did just a fantastic amount of work. I really encourage everybody to go and watch those attacks. If we're using standard and straight go wipe attacks, and we're going through, we really have to ask ourselves about the nature of go wipe itself. Go wipe is a solid attack. It completely works. You can 2-star any base with Go Wipe at Town Hall 9, that's for sure. You can 3-star some of the bases. At lower level Town Hall 9 and any Town Hall 8, you can certainly use Go Wipe as a 3-star. But if you take a look at Spidey's base, you take a look at my base in terms of war, there is no way a Town Hall 9 is just going to come in and easily go wipe those bases. It's just not. They're going to have to do something else besides just dump, go wipe, and 3-star. So it seems kind of crazy that our expectation as a clan is that we can just dump, go wipe, and get 3-stars. Once you hit middle Town Hall 9 and above, you have to start thinking certainly differently. And it's good to start implementing the second phase attack strategy early on. The easiest way to do that is put back-end hogs or back-end loons down to be able to begin thinking about having a next strategy and a next phase to the attack once the go wipe troops, the bulk of them, are put in. But certainly moving towards hog attacks, loon attacks, those type of kill squad first with an objective, and then having another level to that attack that comes in to take care of the bulk of the defenses. That is the way to go. It's much more effective. It's a much better strategy. And when you start looking at a base like that, it really is going to be difficult to start looking back at simply go wipe, because you'll understand that you don't have a plan for the second half of the base. And the only way that you can have go wipe be successful is to have such high troops that you just steamroll through that base. And again, you can at Town Hall 8. You can certainly do that at the beginning stages of Town Hall 9. But I'll end just with this. So I'm going to go back to home, and I'm going to call up the clan, and I'm going to take a look at the profile of Iron. So we'll say, just from a go wipe standpoint, we see he's got level 5 wizards. We see he's got level 3 P.E.K.K.A.s. He's got level 4 golems. And then he's got a level 10 Barbarian King, a level 10 Archer Queen. And then he's got the max rage, max heal. And you say, well, so what's he putting down with go wipe? Well, besides those troops, the Wiz and the P.E.K.K.A.s at level 5 and 3, and then the Wall Breakers at level 5. The golems, the heroes, and the spells go down. Now, if we were to go back and we say, let's take a look at Alex and his profile. This is just a Town Hall 8. And we say, what P.E.K.K.A. level does he have? 3. Wallbreaker, level 5. Wizards, level 5. Barbarian King, level 10. All of those are the same as what Iron has. And literally, the Wallbreaker at 5, the P.E.K.K.A. at 3, the Wizard at 5, those are Town Hall 8 troops. Once you get into the upper levels of Town Hall 9, expecting that your troops that you had at level 8 are going to just steamroll a high level 9 base with max defenses, it's simply not going to happen. The expectation has to be, we're going to go for 2 stars if we're using go wipe at that level. You have to have at least go wipe with something on the back end in every single case once you reach the higher levels to have a legitimate chance of 3-starring with consistency. A better attack strategy, again, is the use of hogs and all the rest of it. And again, we just saw Jim with level 4 hogs. Alex has that at Town Hall 8. So we have those troops available, and we have them available to unlock early on, but we can't expect to be able to use the same exact troops as a Town Hall 8, other than, again, 2 levels of golems. The army camps give you 20 more troops available. You can use an extra spell, and that's what means, that combined with an Archer Queen allows go wipe to just destroy a Town Hall 8 and low-level Town Hall 9s. Before those defenses are up, you have so much more damage at your disposal early on. But again, as bases start catching up, and as bases begin to increase their defensive strength at Town Hall 9, we have to implement other strategies in order to be able to get those 3 stars on opponents. At the very highest level, you can pick and choose, individual troops to take out individual things. The best place to start realistically, look at Jim's last 2 hog attacks and what he did in terms of the makeup of what he's trying to accomplish there. And it's not a really complicated way to be able to deploy troops. It's relatively easy to learn. Just have those objectives. Your kill squad takes the Archer Queen, the clan castle, and you'd like to run it through a couple of giant bomb spring traps, skelly traps, anything like that you can. Use 1 spell to support that kill squad. Then move on to hogs. The hogs, what you'd like to have, potentially, if you're taking an extra dark spell, might as well be a poison in case skelly traps start chasing your hogs around. But realistically, 3 heal spells in clockwise or counterclockwise manner used to keep hogs alive, and you're going to have success on a large percentage of bases. That's not to say it won't fail. Fails can totally happen on any attack for any number of reasons. But if we start developing those type of attack strategies, we are simply going to have more success moving forward. And we're going to find more and more of our lower level town halls are going to be able to take on not only their equals, but be able to move up and hit consistently above their level as well, without the fear that they're going to be overrun by the defenses. So, great attacks by Run. Great attacks by Jim. Chaser did well. Fritz did well. Fritz with a standard go wipe. If you want to learn how to put in a standard go wipe, realistically, I mean, Fritz is stank. Watch that. That's great. Chaser, if you want to understand, when you can put in something on the back end, take a look at how much damage just a clan castle worth of troops can do, because that's a good example of it. And then moving on to different stage attacks, hog base attacks, just in this war here. Run Drinsky, Jim, great job. All right, Kaiser Soze, maximum carnage, more to follow.